County roads and state highways are covered in ice right now. Muskogee County working several wrecks right into the evening rush hour. 2 Works here reporter Tony Russell live there tonight with what drivers are seeing right now. Tony, what can you tell us?
It's a different scene here at 69 and the 62 split here at Okmulgee in the middle of Muskogee. But just to the west of us, near Taft, oh my gosh, that's where a lot of those wrecks were. First responders working all evening long to get people to safety. The rain fell and now roads are slick. ODOT crews are out making sure nothing freezes overnight. Right at the end of the evening rush hour, Highway 16 just west of Muskogee started to get icy. The Mountain View Fire Department working from wreck to wreck. Muskogee police spotted this truck on fire and called it in. No injuries here. The driver was okay. But just minutes later, another call about a wrecked car on Taft Road. A busy night for the volunteer firefighters.
You know, make sure you're going slow and taking it easy. The roads are extremely slick right now.
Fire crews just want drivers to give them space while they work.
The biggest concern, you know, with people slowing down, and if you see us on the side of the shoulder, wherever you may see us, please slow down and move over.
Troopers tell me that woman who got into a crash on Taft Road, she'll be okay. She's stable, but suffered a punctured lung and is headed to a Tulsa hospital. Brian and Karen, I'll check back with you in the next 15 minutes. We're going to go check out the Muskogee Turnpike. Reporting live in Muskogee, Tony Russell, 2 Works for you.
All right, thank you, Tony. Sounds good. It was a mess here in Tulsa as well as the winter weather hit right during the afternoon rush hour. Emergency crews just trying to keep up with Mother Nature. Continuing our team coverage, reporter Ashley Holt is live downtown. Ashley, it was gridlock there earlier. How do the roads look now?
Brian, we've been driving around the area for a couple of hours now and have found that conditions are far better than they were earlier. But the city of Tulsa tweeted just minutes ago they have crews out right now treating those hills and bridges, with more crews on standby in anticipation of that chaos we saw earlier today. Now, typically the city's first priority is hitting those hills, bridges, and overpasses with its 12,000 tons of salt. But despite its best efforts, we saw how people still suffered out on those roads. IMSA responding to 19 accidents related to road conditions in a 2.5-hour time span. However, the city is still trying new things to prevent accidents using anti-icing material meant to prevent any sort of precipitation from sticking to roadways. Now, to learn what routes those crews take both before and during winter conditions, you can visit the city's website at cityoftulsa.org/winter-preparedness. Live in Tulsa, Ashley Holt, 2 Works for you.
Thank you, Ashley. And just south of Tulsa, highways turned into ice rinks tonight when the freezing rain moved in.
Meteorologist John Haverfield continues our team coverage tonight near Henrietta, where slick roads led to multiple crashes.
We're just south of Henrietta by a few miles on the Indian Nation Turnpike here, and this is turned into an icy mess. And again, this isn't even on a bridge or an overpass. This is a normal road here. Behind me, a pickup truck that lost control and ran off the highway here, ran into a ditch. The driver of this pickup was an 88-year-old man who actually was injured and was taken to a hospital. And just across the highway, we had another pickup truck that fell into a 50-foot ditch. And luckily, a Good Samaritan helped haul his vehicle out of that ditch, and they are okay. But again, OHP troopers are telling everybody to take it slow and drive for the conditions. Again, take it slow if you have to be out this evening. In Henrietta, meteorologist John Haverfield, 2 Works for you.
Thank you, John. The winter weather hit hard and fast near the Tulsa Metro this afternoon, causing many cars to crash. Meteorologist Taft Price shows us some of that damage.
Photos poured into the newsroom today as the winter weather created a nightmare for drivers across the metro. This collision happened at 700 South Highway 75. You can see the front end smashed and windows shattered. And on the Keystone Expressway just west of downtown, the icy roads caused multiple collisions on both east and westbound lanes, 2 different vehicles flipping over. And an IMSA ambulance with a patient inside also involved in an accident on Highway 75 near Peoria. Thankfully, no life-threatening injuries. In Brookside, meteorologist Taft Price, 2 Works for you.
Thanks, Taft. As winter weather continues to cause dangerous conditions across Green Country, we hope you'll download our 2 Works for You app. You can search KGRH in your app store.
New at 10, Muskogee police paid their final respects today to a fallen officer. They held a procession for K-9 officer Indy, who died Sunday morning.
Indy suffered health complications, and 2 Works 2 anchor Will Dupree shows us what fellow first responders did to honor his years of service.
Officers kept composed, leaving a Tulsa vet clinic carrying their trusted K-9's body beneath an American flag. Indy worked alongside them the past 4 years, so the entire department is stung by this loss.
We don't treat these dogs like dogs. They're not dogs to us. You know, they're part of the police department.
The police escort made its way with Indy back to Muskogee, where first responders, flashing all their lights, formed a large procession through town. Drivers pulled off to pay their respects and watch this incredible honor befitting any officer who dies in the line of duty.
You know, it really seems to brighten, a loss like this when we see the support that we get.
Once the procession passed here on the Shawnee bypass, officers went to a special ceremony to say their goodbyes to Indy. They tell us that he will now be cremated and his remains will go home with his partner. Indy served both his community and his country. He came to work with Muskogee Police in 2014, but before that, he spent time in Iraq serving with the U.S. Army. After surviving years of combat and chasing criminals, Indy died from a twisted stomach, a problem common with dogs his size. Indy served with his partner, Lieutenant William Peters, proudly. So this procession comes as a fitting salute to a soldier and an officer that's now reached the end of his watch. From Muskogee, Will Dupree, 2 Works for You.
What a special tribute.
An amazing officer there. New at 10, fighting an opioid addiction, a woman's journey to ditch the pills, in a story you'll see only on 2.
Winter weather creating dangerous conditions we've been telling you about across Green Country, what you can expect throughout the night. I'm Karen Larson.
I'm Brian Sanders. You're watching 2 Works for You at 10. Welcome back. Fighting the deadly opioid epidemic. You've seen the stories right here of people buying the drugs off the streets.
But what about those who have a long-term prescription from their doctors? Well, tonight, 2 Works 2 reporter Micah Hatfield shares one woman's journey to get off the pills and take control of her life in a story you'll see only on 2.
I'm just in bad shape. I'm a senior citizen, addicted to pain pills. What kind of life is that?
Looking distressed and exhausted, this woman asked us to conceal her identity. She was 2 days into detoxing from 26 years worth of opioid use. She says all of the painkillers she took were prescribed by different doctors over the years for various injuries and surgeries.
I wish they would have said to me, these pain medicines that you took after surgery, that's fine. You can take those for a while, but they're really only good for 7 to 10 days. Anything after that, you can become addicted.
She says she took them as directed, never asked for refills early, never took more than she was supposed to or doctor shopped. But as the years went on and she was diagnosed with other illnesses, her prescriptions got stronger. She says she had become immune to the painkiller she was on, and doctors told her she needed more potent medication.
I didn't know to even ask for anything else. Can I have some physical therapy? Can I, what are the other choices? You always trust your doctors when you go to them to know what's best for your health.
As her pain regimen strengthened, the effects on her body intensified. Now she was taking more pills to mask those symptoms. Since she's been on opioids, she's gained more than 70 pounds. Her teeth turned brown and started breaking off, and she lost her sense of taste. She was brought to tears, talking about the negative effects it's had on her relationships with friends and family. They told her she changed, and they would be there for her when she got off the pills.
I didn't see the change in me.
Do you see it now?
Yes, that's why I'm getting myself off of them.
Several times during our interview, the woman admitted to being an addict, something she's embarrassed about.
Hang on, let me put some gloves on.
Pain management doctor, Dr. Andrew Revelis, who doesn't treat the patient we spoke to, says there is a difference between addiction and tolerance.
When you're addicted to something, you behave in ways like you said, asking for early refills, buying them off the street, you're craving it. That's a different thing.
The patient we spoke with doesn't obtain her pills illegally, but she says the pain is unbearable when she's not on them. And up until now, she wasn't willing to make changes. Dr. Revelis deals with people who have chronic pain, and he says he doesn't rely on painkillers to treat it. He incorporates injection therapy, physical therapy, and acupuncture to relieve the pain.
What we don't want to do is overcorrect it to the point where the pendulum swings so far back the other way now that legitimate people, my grandmother, your sister, other people with legitimate pain that need it to maintain a quality of life don't get left behind.
When Dr. Revelis does put patients on painkillers, he informs them the risks involved with taking that medication and even makes them go as far as signing a contract saying they're going to take them as directed.
Some of the research now shows that higher and higher doses aren't necessarily any more effective in treating people's pain. So certainly where we can decrease the medication, we do.
The detox has not been easy for this woman. While we spoke to her, she was sweating, shaking, and experiencing terrible cramps. Severe side effects have included boils. Her doctor told her that's the poison from the opioids leaving her body.
They should never, ever prescribe this medicine to anybody unless they tell them what you're going to go through when you get off of them. It's cruel. That's what it is. It's cruel. I don't want to be like this.
The woman says she never would have started the long-term use of opioids if she knew years later she would be in this position. She says her doctors didn't tell her, and she regrets not asking more questions.
Life is going to be really good once I get off these pills, and that's what I tell myself. Life is going to be good again once all of this is out of your system, and I'm just doing a countdown.
In the last few weeks, the Oklahoma Commission on Opioid Abuse released several recommendations for changes to state laws. They include mandating electronic prescriptions, fully funding drug courts, and encouraging law enforcement to track where overdoses are happening so they can direct resources to those hotspots. The commission also suggests taxing opioid manufacturers, wholesalers, and distributors, and using the money to fund opioid addiction treatment. Micah Hatfield, 2 Works for You.
Turning back to our weather, the wintry mix is gone, but it is still very cold out there.
We'll check back in with Mike and find out what's the latest now.
Frigid, and it's going to be that way for the rest of the night. Areas southeast of Tulsa got hit even harder than the metro region, even though we had numerous accidents earlier this evening. We saw heavier precip down the Muskogee area, and Tony Russell is live in Muskogee. T. Russ, what's going on right now in Muskogee?
Mike, you know, we just about 15 minutes ago, we showed you what it was like at 69, right through the heart of Muskogee, and then we jumped up here up on the turnpike and headed back to Tulsa to kind of give you a different take on how the roads are. You know, the main thing that I've noticed, obviously the traffic is just completely different in terms of this tonight to what we showed you at 5 and 6. So that's the good news, but the roads, they're still slick in spots, and crews are working around the clock to keep a lot of that area treated. A lot of we're not really seeing much in terms of activity out here, but look just behind me over my shoulder if you can, Mike. So this is where the Oklahoma Turnpike Authority has some of their sand and salt trucks, Mike. Down there, they're working, staying busy. This is what it's going to look like all night long. So give them space. Can't stress this enough. These guys are considered emergency vehicles, and they'll be working throughout the night to make sure you've got a smooth commute tomorrow morning. Mike?
All right, thank you very much, Tony. I appreciate that. Right now, it's cold, 26 degrees in Tulsa, northwest winds at 8 miles per hour. The camera at the airport still frozen from the drizzle earlier today. Down into lower 20s overnight tonight. We're going to see 40s, and we're going to see sunshine tomorrow. Finally, a little relief heading our way. Totally different story this weekend, though. We're tracking our next winter weather potential watch. This is Saturday morning. Might see some drizzle in the area. Cold air is going to quickly pour into the region. We're going to see this transition to freezing drizzle during the day Saturday. And this could create an icy mess on Saturday into Sunday morning as colder air moves in. This is 5:30 Sunday morning. We could see a transition over to snowfall by early Sunday. So that's our next winter potentially storm this weekend that we will be watching very closely. That moves out by Sunday evening. All right, 7 a.m. in Tulsa. It's going to be cold. Tulsa 21, Tahlequah 21, McAllister 24, Grove at 22. And then as we head towards this afternoon or tomorrow afternoon, sunshine, Still chilly. Tulsa, 40 degrees. Pryor at 34 degrees. Grove at 34. And Tahlequah coming in the mid-30s with mid-40s down to the south of us. So colder northeast, still chilly from Tulsa to the south. We will see a big-time warm-up, though, as we head towards the end of the work week with temperatures in the 50s and sunshine moving back into the area. So something to enjoy the next couple of days, warmer and sunnier conditions. Now, this is what I'm going to be watching very closely. 36 Saturday afternoon, but here, or I should say 36 early Saturday morning. That temperature is going to continue to drop during the day. Areas in southeast Oklahoma could see 50s and 60s for highs. Here in Tulsa, 30s to start your day, into the upper 20s by 5 o'clock, down to 24 Sunday morning. Freezing rain, sleet, and snow possible this weekend. So we're going to really keep a close eye on that. And then we begin to dry and slightly warm Monday into Tuesday. But as the new data pours in tonight,